Listen closely. What I'm about to tell you is not a story for the faint-hearted. This is a warning for those who think they can disrespect, dismiss, or trample on others without consequence. You think you can leave a scar, a wound, and walk away untouched. But here's the truth. Disrespecting someone who doesn't forget is a dangerous game. And trust me when I say, the price will always be paid. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what power you think you hold. There's a law in this world, a law that most people ignore. The things you do to others, the wounds you leave, will return to haunt you. They will come back, but not in the way you expect. When you disrespect someone who carries their pain with them, who holds their memories close, thinking they've forgotten, when you do, because someone who has learned how to endure, how to survive, is someone you should never underestimate. You see, when they forget you, it's temporary. But when you forget the weight of your actions, that's when the universe reminds you. Every word you spoke in malice, every glance you threw in judgment, every promise you broke, they may seem small, insignificant, but these things fester, and one day they explode. The person you wronged, they will remember. They will rise, and they will come for the balance that was denied. Now, I know what you're thinking, but they'll forget. They'll move on. Let me correct you. They don't forget. No, not ever. It's not in their nature. You think they've moved on because they've stopped fighting. They've stopped crying. They've stopped screaming. But trust me, they haven't forgotten. They've been quietly biding their time, gathering strength, learning to wear their scars like armor. And here's the cold hard reality. The more you think you've gotten away with it, the more you've set the stage for your downfall. You may never see the storm coming. You may think you're the one who's in control. But the truth is, the one who carries the memories, the pain, the betrayal, they are the ones who will have the last laugh. Because time is on their side. And while you think you're living your life without consequence, the person you wronged is sharpening their mind, hardening their resolve, and when the time comes for them to reclaim what was taken, you will wish you never crossed that line. So let me tell you this, right here and now, you can't erase what you've done. You can't take back the hurt you caused, no matter how much you try to run from it. But you can't erase the mark you've left. But there's a price to pay for everything, and that price, it will find you. It will catch up to you, and when it does, it will remind you, you can't disrespect someone who doesn't forget, because they will never forget, and the cost, it will be far greater than you ever imagined. So sit tight, listen, because what I'm about to tell you is the story of power reclaimed, of respect demanded, and of those who believed they could break another, and how they learned the price of doing so. It's a story of strength, of revenge, not in the way you think, but in the only way that truly matters, through transformation, through resilience, through the quiet power of never forgetting. You know that feeling when your heart is heavy, your mind clouded, and the weight of the world feels like it's pressing down on your chest? That tightness in your throat that makes it hard to breathe? You've been walking through the days, your shoulders hunched, your eyes a little more vacant than they used to be. It's as if the person you were before, full of hope, energy, ambition, has been replaced by someone hollow. Just another shadow moving through the motions, trying to make it through the next minute, the next hour. But the truth? You haven't just been surviving. You've been surviving the fallout from the disrespect, the betrayal, the cruelty of others. Let me paint you a picture. One that, no matter how much you try to escape it, you know deep down, feels like your truth. There's a darkness that settles into your bones after you've been wronged. You try to ignore it, but it festers. It lingers. Every time you wake up, it's like you're haunted by the ghosts of what's been done to you. Words that cut deeper than any blade. Promises that were made and shattered. People who should have stood by you, but instead they turned their backs. And that feeling of being smaller than you ever should have been, trapped under someone else's foot, that's where the damage starts. You've been belittled, over and over again. The world didn't just overlook you, it tried to erase you. It told you that you didn't matter. It told you that your pain didn't count, that you didn't deserve respect, love, or understanding. And you let it in. You let the words, the actions, the looks, those small, insidious dismissals take root inside your mind. Slowly but surely, they began to twist your own self-worth, making you believe you were weak, insignificant, and small. Maybe it was a person, someone you trusted, someone you loved, that crossed the line, someone who betrayed you when you least expected it. They told you one thing and did another, leaving you stranded, broken. Maybe it was a friend who left you when you needed them most. Maybe it was a partner who promised to always be there, but turned their back when the going got tough. Maybe it wasn't even a single betrayal, it was a series of them, like slow daggers being buried into your heart. Every time you believed in someone, they failed you. Every time you trusted, you were hurt. And through it all, there was this whisper telling you, you're not enough. You'll never be enough. But the worst part of it all, the part that gets under your skin and gnaws at your soul, is the feeling of being invisible. Like no one sees you, no one hears you, and no one cares. The days are a blur, and your reflection in the mirror doesn't even feel like yours. You look at yourself and wonder who you've become, a shell of who you used to be. And that emptiness, the gnawing, aching, hollow emptiness, is a prison in itself. A prison. And there's nothing about you that's a prison less than love. Like anything, you're ruined in it, but don't think for a second that it's just other people who have done this to you. No, you've played a part in it too. Your own fears, your own doubts, your own insecurities, those things have kept you locked in the dark. You've let them control you, let them define you. You've let them hold you back from the person you were meant to become. Your own mind has been your greatest enemy, telling you that you're not strong enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. You've been your own worst critic, locking yourself in a cage of limitations. But here's the truth you've ignored. You didn't start in this place, and you don't have to stay here. And yet, despite it all, despite the years of mistreatment, despite the countless rejections, despite the days you wanted to just disappear, you're survived. You're still here. Every scar, every tear, every moment of doubt. Those were supposed to break you. Those were supposed to make you fade into nothingness. But they didn't. You've been underestimated, dismissed, and yes, disrespected. But it's like fuel, a fire waiting to ignite. You may have believed for a while that you were weaker than you really are, but now you're starting to see the truth. The person they tried to break is the one who's still standing. And that right there, that survival, that's your first sign of power. They thought they could shatter you, bury you under their judgments, their cruelty. They thought they could laugh and walk away while you stayed stuck in the mess they created. But what they didn't count on is that you have a memory. You've been carrying it all. You've been wearing the weight of it all, silently, without anyone. And when the time comes, you're going to remind them of something they forgot. You are not the one who is weak. They are. They are the ones who underestimated you. And that, my friend, will cost them more than they ever imagined. The truth is, you've survived not because they were weak, but because you are stronger than they ever thought you were. And right now, you may feel like you've been broken, but broken things can be remade. And that's where the power lies. Right there, in the wreckage, in the pieces, they are yours. And when you finally realize that you are no longer the victim, that's when you will understand the price of their disrespect. This is your turning point. It's time to stop being silent. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to rise up and let them know that the person they disrespected, the one they thought they could ignore, is not going anywhere. You've been through too much. You've endured too much. And now you rise. The darkness is suffocating, isn't it? It's that heavy weight in your chest, the kind that makes it feel like you can't breathe, like the air itself is thick with doubt and fear, like nothing's changed, nothing's moving forward. Maybe you've even tried to push through it, tried to pick yourself up, but every time you try, that same heavy burden drags you back down. You look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back at you anymore. Your eyes used to be bright, full of life, but now, they're dull, hollow, like a person who's lost everything worth fighting for. Every smile feels fake, every word hollow, and each day you die a little more inside, wondering if you'll ever feel alive again. The pain of betrayal isn't just emotional, it cuts deeper than that. It changes how you see the world, how you see yourself. You thought you were strong, you thought you were worthy. But the people who promised to support you, the people you trusted, tore that belief apart, piece by piece. And each time they let you down, the cracks in your heart grew bigger, until you couldn't remember what it felt like to be whole. And that emptiness, that's the prison you're stuck in. But it's not just the betrayal that cuts, it's the aftermath. The self-doubt that haunts you in every waking moment. Every time you think you might be ready to take a step forward, doubt grips your throat and whispers, "Who are you kidding? You'll fail again. You'll never be enough." It's a cycle that repeats, over and over, believing in yourself, only to be crushed by the harsh reality that nothing has changed. And that failure, it feels like a weight around your neck, pulling you down into a pit of hopelessness, making you feel like you'll never break free. And the hardest part is when you realize that no one is coming to save you. Not a person, not a savior, not some miracle that will make everything right again. It's all on you. And that truth, terrifying as it is where your real fight begins. You've been waiting for someone to see you, to tell you that everything's going to be okay. But guess what? No one's coming. No one's gonna fix what's broken inside you but you. And that's the reality you've been avoiding. No one can give you permission to heal. No one can tell you that you're allowed to rise. You have to decide that for yourself. You've been stuck in this pain for far too long, and I'm not here to sugarcoat it. This is where you're at right now. You are stuck. You are caught in a cycle of pain and despair that you've created. Maybe you're holding on to this hurt like it's the only thing that keeps you from falling into the abyss. But that's the lie. That's the trap. Because this pain you're holding on to is not protecting you, it's keeping you locked in place, denying you the freedom to move forward. Do you see it? Do you see how your pain is the very thing that's keeping you prisoner? It's feeding the cycle. Every time you revisit the betrayal, every time you wallow in your sadness, every time you relive the hurt, you're giving it power. And every moment you spend in this state of victimhood is another moment you allow those who wronged you to keep winning. It's like giving them control over your life, giving them permission to dictate your future. And that is the real tragedy. Because the only person who can stop this is you. And the question you have to ask yourself is, will you stay stuck or will you rise? You've been holding on to the belief that the pain has to be healed before you can move forward. But that's not how it works. You can't wait for the pain to go away before you start living again. You can't wait for someone to come in and wave a magic wand over your wounds. The healing starts the moment you decide to take action, the moment you decide to let go of the victimhood that's kept you safe in your misery, and finally, take back control of your story. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about deciding that the past will not dictate your future. I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible. But this is the reality you've been avoiding. You are stronger than you realize. You've survived more than most people could ever fathom. You've been knocked down, you've been betrayed, you've been hurt in ways that no one should have to endure. But here's the truth. You are still standing. When you're feeling everything you can, when those thoughts of self-loathing and self-hate, and the people who thought they broke you, they underestimated your strength. They thought you would stay in the dirt. They thought you would stay broken, but they were wrong. And it's time you realize that too. The depth of your despair doesn't define you. It never did. The real question now is, what will you do with it? Will you continue to let it consume you, or will you use it as the fuel that propels you forward? The choice is yours, but know this. No one can make it for you. No one can give you permission to rise. That power is yours and yours alone. The sooner you realize that, the sooner you can begin the transformation that's waiting for you. You've been stuck long enough. It's time to move. It's time to rise. And you're the only one who can make that decision. It's time. Time to wake up from the slumber you've been in. Time to look the pain you've been hiding from straight in the eyes and choose to step into the fire rather than let it consume you. Second Officer Kent immediately stopped the chaos, but he realized it wasn't some other officer. Because here's the truth, something you've forgotten over the course of all the hurt. You've always had the power to change your story. It was never about waiting for the right moment. It was never about someone else coming in to rescue you. You've had everything you needed within you from the very beginning. You were never meant to stay small. You were never meant to stay broken. All the times you've cried in silence, all the moments where you felt like you were drowning, those weren't signs of weakness. Those were the marks of strength. Those were the scars that formed around your heart, the kind of scars that transform you from a victim into a warrior. Because pain doesn't destroy you, it forges you. It's the fire that tempers your soul, the grind that sharpens your mind. Think about it. What happens when metal is forged in fire? It doesn't break, it doesn't crumble, it becomes unbreakable. And right now, that's what's happening to you. Every ounce of pain, every moment of doubt, it's not destroying you, it's hardening you, it's sharpening you. The disrespect, the betrayal, they thought they could burn you, break you down to nothing. You're not, but what they didn't know is that you were never meant to be fragile. You were always meant to be stronger than they could ever imagine. So let me ask you, why are you still holding on to the illusion that you're powerless? Why are you still clinging to the idea that the hurt defines you? You've been carrying the tools for your own liberation this entire time. All those years of silence, all that suffering, that wasn't wasted, that wasn't for nothing. Every tear that fell, every time you wondered if you'd ever get back up, those were the moments that were slowly shaping you into the person you're about to become. Let me be crystal clear. The pain you've endured is not a sentence. It's a tool. And the minute you stop seeing yourself as the victim, the minute you stop identifying with the hurt, is the minute you start seeing yourself as the force you were always meant to be. Your scars, they're not weaknesses. They're your armor. Every time you were knocked down, your resilience only grew. Every time you thought you couldn't get back up, the strength within you was quietly building, preparing for the day you'd remember who you really are. And that day, it's here. It's now. I know you're not there yet, not fully. It's easy to look back and see the hurt and think it's all you have. It's easy to stay stuck in the belief that the past has already written your future. But that's a lie. The past does not own you. The future is still unwritten. You still have the pen in your hand, and it's time you started writing with conviction. So, what will you do with all this power? What will you do with all this strength that's been building up in your soul that you've been ignoring, burying out of fear or self-doubt? The truth is, this power, this untapped potential, has always been inside you. You've just been afraid to let it out. You've been afraid to acknowledge it because doing so means stepping into your own greatness. And that's a scary thing, isn't it? Because greatness comes with responsibility. It comes with expectations, with the knowledge that once you see who you really are, there's no going back. You can't unlearn your own power, but you've been made for this. You've been broken down only to rise. You've been burned only to glow brighter than you ever were before. That's what pain does to you. That's what the disrespect of others, the betrayal, the hurt can do. If you let it, it can transform you from someone who's been beaten down into someone who rises like a phoenix, stronger, faster, more powerful than ever before. And this is where your power comes from. It doesn't come from some magical moment of clarity. It comes from the quiet decision you make to stop being the victim. It comes from the second you look at your life and say, no more. I will not let the past define me. I will not let the disrespect define me. I am not the sum of my scars. I am the strength that lies underneath them. Do you see it? The moment you stop being afraid of your own power is the moment everything changes. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to validate you, to tell you it's okay to heal, to rise, is the moment you realize you've always been the one in control. You've always had the choice. You can either continue to live in the pain and let it steal your power, or you can look it in the eyes, turn it into fuel, and set your world on fire. But this is the part where I need you to understand something. This isn't easy. Building resilience isn't easy. It's not a quick fix. It's not a snap your fingers and everything changes kind of thing. It's earned. Every time you push through when you want to quit, every time you rise after being knocked down, every time you decide not to let someone's disrespect define your worth. That's how you build resilience. That's how you turn every tear, every scar, every single moment of doubt into something that strengthens you. You are not the person they thought you were. You are not the person who crumbles under pressure. You are the person who keeps fighting, who keeps moving forward, even when the world tries to bury you. You are the one who's unstoppable, who's stronger than the things that once held you back, and no one can take that from you. So let's be clear. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop playing small. You are here for a reason. Your pain, your scars, your story, they have power. They have meaning. And now it's time to take that power and use it to change your life. You've been waiting for a miracle, but the miracle, my friend, is already inside you. The time is now. You have the power to change your story. This is it, the moment you've been waiting for, the moment where everything shifts. Because right now, right this very second, you need to understand something. And I mean really understand it. You hold the key to your freedom. Not anyone else, not some outside force. You. All the power, all the strength, all the resilience you've been searching for has always been inside you. But it's time you realize that you've been hiding from it. You've been playing small, letting the world define you, letting the people who hurt you define you. But the truth? You were never meant to stay small. They thought they could bury you. They thought they could take your strength and turn it into weakness. They thought they could throw you into the dirt and that would be the end of you. But here's the cold, hard truth. You were never meant to stay down. They can't bury you. They can't break you. They can't stop you. You've been letting them write your story, letting them dictate your worth. But now it's time for you to pick up the pen. It's time for you to write your own narrative. It's time to show them who you really are, who you were always meant to be. Do you realize what I'm telling you? You've been waiting for permission to rise, haven't you? You've been waiting for the world to tell you that it's okay, that you can heal, that you can move forward. But you've had the permission this whole time. You've had the power to change your life, to rewrite your story, from the very moment you decided that you wouldn't let them define you. You've been playing small because you've been too afraid to face the greatness inside you. You've been too afraid to believe that you could rise from the ashes and take back everything they thought they took from you. You've been waiting for the moment to come when someone else tells you, you're enough, you deserve this. But let me make something clear, that moment is now. The moment you stop looking outside of yourself for approval. The moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you the green light. You are enough. You always have been. The disrespect, the hurt, the betrayal. It didn't break you. It didn't destroy you. It shaped you. And that's the key right there. They thought that by disrespecting you, by knocking you down, they could erase your fire. But what they didn't understand is that the fire only gets stronger. Every insult, every betrayal, every wound you've carried has been adding fuel to the flame. And now, That flame is ready to burn brighter than ever before. So I'm asking you, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna stay stuck in the past, clinging to the idea that you're broken? Are you gonna stay in the shadows, letting them dictate how you feel about yourself? Or are you going to rise? Are you gonna take everything they've thrown at you and use it as fuel for your comeback? It's time to make that choice. It's time to wake up and realize that you have everything you need to win. You've always had it, you just needed to remember. You've been playing small because you've been afraid of your own power, but that ends now. Here's the truth. The real power lies not in forgetting the disrespect, but in using it to fuel your comeback. It's not about pretending it didn't happen. It's not about sweeping it under the rug. It's about taking that disrespect, the very thing that was supposed to break you, and turning it into the foundation of your greatest triumph. You're not here to be a victim, you're here to be a victor. And you don't need anyone's permission to rise. You're already rising. You've always been rising. Think about it. The greatest stories aren't the ones where the hero was never hurt. The greatest stories aren't the ones where the hero never faced betrayal. The greatest stories are the ones where the hero overcomes. The ones where the hero takes every hit, every wound, and uses it to come back stronger, sharper, more focused than ever before. That's your story. And it's not over, not even close. You've been through hell. You've been through the fire. And guess what? You're still standing. And not only that, you're standing taller than you ever have before. You've learned the lessons, you've gained the wisdom, you've built the strength. Now it's time to take that knowledge and go out into the world and show them exactly what they've underestimated. Show them that you were never meant to be broken. You were always meant to rise. Now rise. The chains that held you down, break them. The people who told you you were nothing, prove them wrong. The fears that tried to keep you small, shatter them. Because this is your moment. This is the turning point. This is the moment when you choose who you're going to be, and you're choosing to rise. No one can take that from you. The disrespect doesn't matter anymore. It's only fuel. It's only fire. And now you're going to burn brighter than ever before. Are you ready? It's time to stop waiting. It's time to stop playing small. You are the storm. You are the comeback. And the world is about to see what happens when you finally remember who you are. The power is yours. Now go take it. It's time. No more waiting. No more second guessing. No more letting the world tell you who you are, what you're worth, or how far you can go. This is your moment. You have already walked through the fire. You've been scarred, you've been bruised, you've been beaten down, but you're standing taller than ever, and you're just getting started. Listen to me carefully. The world doesn't define you anymore. Not the betrayals, not the disrespect, not the people who told you that you'd never make it, that you were nothing. You are no longer a victim of your past. You are the architect of your future. And now you are the only one who gets to decide what comes next. So let me ask you, what are you going to do with this power? What are you going to do with the strength that has been building inside you? The resilience that's been forged in pain? Because this is where you get to take the wheel. This is where you stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. The world has been waiting for you to claim what's rightfully yours. And now you're going to take it. But don't fool yourself. This isn't the end of your journey. This is just the beginning. What you've learned, the strength you've discovered within yourself, will take you further than you've ever gone before, but only if you continue to push forward. Resilience isn't a destination, it's a journey. And that journey, it doesn't have a finish line. It's a continuous climb toward greatness. Every step you take, every challenge you face, is just another opportunity to prove to the world and to yourself that you were never meant to stay down. You were always meant to rise. The road ahead is not always going to be easy. There will be moments where the weight of the world tries to pull you back down. There will be people who try to remind you of your past. But here's the thing. Your past doesn't have the power to define you anymore. Your pain doesn't own you. The mistakes, the regrets, the things you wish you could change, they don't have the power to keep you in chains unless you let them. So what will you do with all that fire that's burning inside you? How will you turn the pain into power? It starts now. It starts with a decision to keep moving forward, to keep rising no matter what. It starts with refusing to let anyone, no matter who they are, determine how far you'll go. You own your narrative now. Every moment of pain you've faced, that's fuel. Every person who disrespected you, belittled you, and tried to break you, they just gave you the ammunition you needed to prove them wrong. The price of disrespect is not defeat, it's power. And now you hold it. So take a breath. Look at yourself in the mirror. You're not the same person you were yesterday. You're someone who has discovered their strength, who has realized that the only person standing between you and your greatness is you. You've already survived the storm, and now you're walking through it like a force of nature. Here's the roadmap. Here's what you need to do. Own your power. Stop letting the world tell you who you are. The pain doesn't define you. The hurt doesn't define you. Only you get to decide your value. From this moment on, you stand in the full knowledge that you are worthy of every single thing you desire. You will not let anyone, not a single soul, tell you otherwise. Keep pushing forward, there's no going back now. Every step you take, no matter how small, moves you further away from the old you and closer to the person you were always meant to become. Embrace the climb. It's not always going to be smooth, but that's how you get stronger. That's how you rise. Use your scars. Every scar, every wound, every battle you've fought. It's all part of your armor. Don't hide them. Wear them proudly. They are proof that you survived. And they'll keep you going when you face the next challenge. Shut down the noise. There will always be people who try to tell you that you can't do it, that you'll never make it. Let them talk. Their voices don't matter anymore. Your voice, the one inside your head, the one that knows exactly what you're capable of, is the only one that matters. You know who you are, and you know what you're capable of. Refuse to play small. You've spent far too long playing small, dimming your light, waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to shine. Guess what? It's always been okay, and now it's time to let that light burn bright. You were never meant to hide in the shadows. You were always meant to be seen, to be heard, to be unstoppable. They thought they'd break you. They thought they could bury you beneath the weight of their disrespect, their lies, their betrayals. They thought that by breaking you, they'd win. But all they did was awaken a force they'll never understand, a force so powerful, so relentless, that nothing in this world will ever stop you again. Now you rise. You rise above the pain. You rise above the fear. You rise above every single thing that's ever tried to hold you down. You rise, and you never look back. You were always meant to rise, and now the world will see you as you truly are, a force to be reckoned with. Nothing will ever stop you again. The power is yours. The strength is yours. The victory is yours. Now go claim it. The journey has brought you here. The battle, the rise, the fall, the reclaiming of your power. All of it has led to this moment. And now, as the dust settles, as the echoes of your triumph begin to fade, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. You are not the same person you were when this began. The scars you carry, the pain you've endured, the disrespect you've faced, none of it has broken you. It has forged you. You've become something stronger, something more powerful, something unstoppable. The person you are now is someone who knows their worth, who refuses to be defined by anyone or anything outside of themselves. And that's something they never saw coming. You are a force that refuses to bow, to shrink, to stay in the shadows. You are a force that rises every single time they try to knock you down, and you will keep rising. The respect that others have tried to deny you, you've earned it, not through approval or permission, but through the power of your resilience, your strength, and your unwavering belief in yourself. But as you stand here, stronger than you've ever been, I want you to understand something important. This is not the end. This is not the moment where you can sit back and relax, where you can rest on your laurels. Your journey has only just begun. The world doesn't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. But you owe yourself everything. The respect you seek from others, the acknowledgement of your strength, the recognition of your power. It's all going to come, but only if you continue to show up, only if you continue to walk the path of resilience, of transformation, of never stopping until you've reached the heights you were always meant to climb. This is not a one-time battle, this is a lifetime war, and you're in it for the long haul. You've come to understand something crucial in this journey. Respect is not a gift given to you by others, it's earned. And you earned it with every single step you took through the fire. You earned it with every moment you refused to stay down. You earned it by standing tall when they tried to break you, by staying true to yourself when they wanted you to be something you are not. Respect is earned through the power of resilience, through the ability to withstand the storm and come out the other side stronger than before. And now, as you look ahead, know this: anyone who disrespects you will pay the price. Not because you seek revenge or hatred, but because you now carry the power to create your own destiny. You are no longer at the mercy of others. You are the one who decides how your story ends. There will always be those who try to diminish you, who try to bring you down. There will always be those who see your strength and feel threatened by it. But now, you know what to do. You know that their disrespect means nothing when you understand your own value. Their words, their actions, they don't have the power to break you. They never did. You have the power to rise, and rise you will. With every challenge, with every setback, you'll become stronger, more resilient, more unstoppable. And with each victory, each step forward, you will show the world that you are not the one to be underestimated. Take a deep breath, look at the path behind you, see how far you've come, and then look ahead, because your future, it's waiting. It's waiting for you to claim it. It's waiting for you to take everything you've learned, everything you've fought for, and build something even greater than you could have ever imagined. You're just getting started. This is the final reflection. The world will never forget the strength you've shown, the power you've claimed, and the respect you've earned. But more importantly, you will never forget the journey. You will never forget what it feels like to rise from the ashes, to reclaim your power, to take your place in this world. And when you walk through life from this day forward, remember, they thought they could break you, but all they did was create something greater. And now, you are the one who holds the key to your future. Keep moving forward, keep rising, keep demanding the respect you've earned, because no one can ever take that away from you again. This is your time. Now, go claim it.